Today's Saturday, September 20th. This is the comparison between the one-year-only 1967 and 1968 through 78 Cadillac Eldorado front-wheel drive final drive extensions. These are mounted on the right-hand passenger side from the final drive and extended over to the transaxle, okay, because we have an offset design in terms of the location of the transmission and final drive. Shifted over towards the driver's side, therefore on the passenger side we have these extensions. So what we have here is a drastically different design in 67 being a one-year-only design for the Cadillac Eldorados that began in 66 with the Oldsmobile Toronado. And what we also have is the switch pitch transmission and a different configuration both in the final drive and in the final drive extension. So I'll be pointing out some of the differences. Here is the 67 units being opened up. I'm going to be swapping out the bearing as it's damaged. We can look at the debris of the cage of the ball bearings, the spherical ball bearings inside the final drive extension that facilitate the rotation. Okay, this is how it basically rotates. We can see that a substantial number of the ball bearings are missing, and we can see the debris of the cage that has been mangled up and different particles debris particles left over that had to be picked out. Anyway, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be changing out the whole bearing. So in 1967 what we have is a slightly longer shaft. Can't really tell, but in the latter years we're dealing with a 12-inch long shaft as measured from the face of the retainer plate to the end of the spline, whereas in 67 we have approximately a 13 3/8 long shaft. More importantly than that is we have a longer fluted spline engagement in 67 as compared to 68, which is stubbier. And we also have different diameters. So we have a spline diameter as noted here, 1.38 in 67, whereas we have a spline diameter of 1.405 in the latter years. More importantly, we have a shaft diameter that's 1.462 and a seal diameter of 1.495. The seal diameter basically being at this position. Okay, so once this is inserted into the final drive, there is a seal. The seal rubber engages tightly so nothing gets flung out in terms of the grease and oil inside the final drive. Whereas in 67 we have a 1.373 seal diameter and a 1.338 shaft diameter. So we have a slightly longer shaft, a narrower diameter shaft, a smaller seal diameter, a smaller spline diameter that's also longer as compared to 68 through 78. Okay, so we can see here the different types of seals that mount onto the seal diameter. We have the National, we have the Timken, and we have the original Saginaw seal. Okay, and we can, I'll do this with one hand, it's going to be a little difficult, but we can see that the seal goes on the seal diameter, and we have a basically good seal integrity. Whereas if I try to position this seal or utilize the seal on the seal diameter of the 67, we can see that it's basically loose and there's a gap, so it's not going to basically perform any type of a seal whatsoever. And that's true whether it's the National, the Timken, or the Saginaw seal. Okay, so 67 is a one-year-only design, very, very different from the latter years, and I just wanted to point out this difference for my Cadillac friends, particularly those with the 67s. And a bad bearing in the extension is often facilitated by an imbalance, particularly when people swap out the transaxles and they're not properly calibrated, mounted, and balanced, as they don't even have the counterweight in the aftermarket ones. So that causes unnecessary stress on the bearing, often causing the cage to disintegrate, as happened in this particular instance. So this is George in Florida. Today is Saturday, September 20th. I have over 375,000 original vintage parts from 1959 through 1976, all the way through 78 for the Eldorados. I have 75,000 parts specific just to the Eldorados from 67 through 78. I'm best known for my restoration of the Cadillac steering wheels, tilt and telescopic steering columns, the power seat mechanisms, the instrument clusters, the rebuilding of the transmissions, the rebuilding of the 390, 429, 472, and 500 and 425 engines. Okay, and of course the rebuilding and restoration of the final drives and the drive extensions. So this is George in Florida. Today, September 20th. Thank you very kindly.